Hey guys, me again. Felt like doing another Marvel video for you, and I felt this time I felt like getting more personal, so you guys know, who am I about and my Marvel taste, for fans of Marvel and whatnot. And I made a top 10 list of my overall top 10 favorite Marvel characters that I truly think that are my top 10. It's really hard because Marvel has some fantastic characters, and there's hundreds and hundreds of awesome characters. And I'm not joking because there's literally a lot of characters, not just superheroes, supervillains, human accomplices, you name it, whatever you want to label them as, yes. But yeah, I made a top 10 of some of my favorites. Not truly my favorites, but obviously they're in my top 10 for a reason, so. But most of them are my favorites, though. Not trying to confuse you guys, but yeah. Anyway, starting at number 10 is Miss Marvel or Captain Marvel. Now, she is a very, really cool character because reading up about her history and her bio, and she's a really cool character. Actually, I got to know her under the Marvel Avengers game on Facebook, and that's an addicting game, and I can go on and on about that, but yeah. And obviously I recruited her, and I started to use her, and she has been very useful for me because of her powers and her abilities. She stores energy, and it's basically, she's kind of like, I'll first start off with the intro. I'm being stupid right now. Anyway, she basically started off in the Air Force, working for the Air Force, being a part of the Air Force, and at one period of time, she came in contact with Kree. If you guys don't know what Kree is, that's a species in the universe of Marvel, but the Guardians of the Galaxy, if you know yeah. And she came in contact with Kree powers, and then she could basically make like energy blasts that are very, very effective. That makes her superhero, And I liked her background story, and that obviously caught my attention. I thought that was really cool. She seems like a very classic character. Like, in a sense, she does sound like Wonder Woman or Superman or those superhuman people, but it's pretty cool that it kind of gave me like a Captain America vibe. It's really cool. I think it's a real cool idea for a character, kind of like expanding like the super soldier type deal, kind of like with Captain America. And if you guys didn't know, Black Widow was the same way. She was treated the same way like Captain America was with the super serum to make him a super soldier, but in this case, Black Widow. Now, but yeah, she's just a really cool character, and like her background story, and she's very fearless. She seems like a very strong woman superhero. I wish I could talk more about her because, she's an awesome character, but I don't know that much, and she's just growing on me. More importantly, I'm just getting started with her because, I just recently found out about her, but she's just an awesome character to put on my top 10 list. Now, at my number 9 is Daredevil. Now, the reason why I picked Daredevil at number 9 is, over time, I really came to grips over time that I do like Daredevil for a lot of reasons. I'm probably going to be going on and on about each superhero, how I love them, about their background story and all that, but that's how I do things, guys, so. At first, I really didn't care for Daredevil, like a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, because of the movie. It was a bad taste in most of their opinions, because, yeah, it was bad. As a kid, I didn't mind it, but obviously looking back, it's like, very bad, very, very bad. But obviously, over the years, I obviously learned more and more and more about Daredevil. Obviously, it's a blind superhero, in a sense. He's basically a blind superhero, but he has super abilities. His other senses besides his sight are super intensified that way. He doesn't really need eyes. He doesn't need vision. He can basically lean on his fighting skills with his super advanced other senses to help him combat crime. And the reason why he combats crime is because, his dad was killed by, some very bad people. I forgot the main reason why, but yeah, he was obviously inspired by that, kind of like a Batman thing, but obviously he does it his own way. He obviously put the persona on as Daredevil. His real name is Matt Murdock. Matt Murdock wanted to become a superhero or Daredevil in this sense because he wanted justice. He stresses justice, and that's what I love about a character. When I look at a superhero, vigilante, whatever, I'm going to lead towards the superhero side, and I want to see a character that takes it to the edge, gritty, and the most important thing is justice, whether it be killing or not killing. As long as he stresses the point of justice. And I like that in a superhero, and that's what I like about Daredevil. And, he looks out after the people just like, it's just a really, really good character, and I love him about that. Yeah, he's blind, but he still goes out and do stuff. And that's why I've grown to love Daredevil over the years, because, Daredevil, come on. A blind guy with supernatural other senses besides his vision goes out and performs justice and puts the fear of God into everybody else, just for a sole purpose of, hey, I'm protecting my innocent people from bad guys like you, and he's going to put the fear of God in you until you get the freaking message, you can't ask for a better character than that. That's why. And it's just sad that the first Daredevil movie, the only Daredevil movie, didn't work out, Yeah. Number 8, I'm going to have to go with Colossus. Colossus is from X-Men, if you guys didn't know. Colossus, when I first found out about Colossus, I was a kid. Little story, how I really got introduced into Marvel was the X-Men animated series when I was, a 90s kid. I'm a 90s kid. I was born in 92. And, I obviously got to watch the series, and it was just amazing how all these different cool characters came out. And obviously one of them is Colossus. Now, he's a Russian, and a mutant in the X-Men world is born with their powers. They don't get them like regular superheroes, or in this case, Marvel superheroes. He can turn his whole body into metal. Indestructible metal. So basically, he's this big brute Russian, and he could turn into metal, and that's just very, very intimidating. And for me, I don't know much about his background story, but he obviously pops out the page for me, because obviously that's a really, really cool character, I think, in my eyes. Because, when another way I look at superheroes is like, the eye test. Not only that, just for like shock, like, oh, he looks cool, or whatever. When obviously I watched the series, he would do it. He would obviously carry himself a different way. He was a very, not laid back per se, but obviously he was very, how would I say it? Groot-like. If you guys know Groot, from Guardians. He wasn't like a bad guy, he may be big, but, he wasn't portraying the typical big bad guy, He was very, held back, I guess you could say laid back. I'll just say it, fuck it. He was laid back, he only did it when, obviously, he needed to do his job and work for the X-Men, and, boom, 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 But yeah, just a really cool character. I liked how he handled things. He's a really cool character about doing stuff like that too. Just another great character. And he's obviously a great part of the X-Men. Shit, I would love him on my team. Like, I know people gave crap about X-Men 3, but you gotta admit that was pretty cool when Colossus threw Wolverine My favorite part about that movie was like, hey Tin Man, can you throw me? And then, he grabs him, and then Wolverine's like, yeah, make it a strike. But yeah, I mean, obviously, what he is as a character, I may not know his background story to a T, but he's just a great character in my eyes. Very unique character, very good character, very creative character. Number 7, another X-Men. I'm trying to make it all well-rounded, so I don't do all X-Men, because that's my favorite universe of the Marvel Universe. Number 7 is Beast. Beast is a very interesting character, again, to me, in my eyes. Again, watching the 90s X-Men series, because when I first saw Beast, I obviously saw a blue thing. He's obviously, no pun intended, a beast. He's actually an animalistic-like creature, but he is still a human in so many ways. Now, when I first saw him, he's like obviously this beast-looking thing. He's reading a book, and I'm with glasses on, and I'm just like, whoa, what's going on here? Like Beast. The cool thing about Beast, I like mainly about Beast, his powers. He is basically, super strength, abilities. Think like, I wish I could describe his powers very well, guys. Obviously, the physical transformation, that's technically his mutant power. I mean, he doesn't switch it on and off like it was portrayed in the movie. Or, wait, scratch that. Basically, Beast has super strength, he's very athletic, this and that. Just think of an athlete that is super, think of the coolest athlete, like a J.J. Watt. I mean, I wish I could do that, but then again, he may come off as very scary. He's actually very, very, very intelligent. He holds himself to a very gentleman-like state, and he obviously what's on the outside doesn't betray the inside, and that's really cool. He's actually a different kind of person, or no pun intended, a different kind of beast or creature. And that's another interesting character I like. Beast is, obviously in X3, when I finally saw him, I was excited, and I was a kid, so when he was in X3, oh my god, I thought he was well betrayed by that one guy, I can't remember his name, and then when it came time to obviously, get shit done and do your job, kind of like Colossus, he unleashed the Beast, and he just went nuts, and, that's what I like about Beast, and, yeah, just another great character in my eyes, And number 6, Spider-Man. Now, with Spider-Man, I've always liked Spider-Man because he's like the mainstream guy, and, obviously a great character no matter what, I watched very little of the animated series in the 90s about Spider-Man, but always, everybody knew Spider-Man was cool. When you're a kid, you love Spider-Man. It's no doubt about it. Growing up with Spider-Man through the first series or the first trilogy of Spider-Man, I liked it. Just how the flow of that character and that story goes. It is very, very interesting. I tell you what, when people make fun of the great power, with great power comes great responsibility, that is a very, very important quote that I use. Not just for stupid Marvel or just a joke around. It's a very serious, important quote, I think, because it is very true. And that's why mainly I do like Marvel a lot, because it does, in a different way, obviously, we don't have superheroes in real life, but obviously there's different kinds of people. There's people that stand up for right things, there's people that stand up for the wrong things. So, obviously, Peter Parker / Spider-Man stands up for a great cause, He has great power, but he does the right thing with it. Although he goes through so much stuff, and he stands up for what is right. Oh my god. People talk about The Amazing Spider-Man 2 as a bullcrap movie, and I'm just like, dude, I loved it. Me and my buddy Joe went to see it, and we loved it. We've been wanting to see it. Because we obviously know a lot about the characters and everything like that. And I could go into that, but what got me the most about that movie, everybody, I mean, besides the fact that they went comic book style and actually portrayed the, Gwen Stacy dying, that was like, oh my god. But when, post Gwen dying, Spider-Man goes through a little bit of depression, basically. I mean, I would do the same thing if that happened to my woman, my god. But he goes through it, and then he has like a little... My memory's rusty, I'm sorry, guys. He gets back up on the horse because he knows what he has to do. He has to be Spider-Man again. And it was just a great scene to see him come back and be Spider-Man. Talking through the microphone, attention idiot, blah, 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 blah. I mean, that's what Spider-Man is. No matter what, he's like a boxer. You get knocked down, you get back up. Because with great power comes great responsibility. Whether that means making the right choice, the wrong choice, or using that to get back, But that was like a great scene, I thought, the ending of that movie. It sucked because we wanted to see the whole Rhino fight, but, he comes back and he's Spider-Man, It's that little kid, it's just like, oh man, he's back, he's here to protect us, It's just that charm, that joy that superheroes bring. That's why I also like a lot about superheroes, Marvel in this case. But yeah, moving on. 5, Captain America. Now, I have never been a fan of Captain America when I was a kid because I never knew much about him, and then, I want to say, freshman year, I heard about a Captain America movie coming out, and then I was like, okay, let's look up Captain America. Click, 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 click. Picture, I was like, ew, he looks kind of cheesy, with the wings and the pirate boots, but, I was at that phase where, I like superheroes, don't get me wrong. It was just more like, what is this guy's deal? He's Captain America, But then obviously the first movie came out, he blew my mind, and I was sold. The way that people talk about Captain America 2 being a great movie, which it is. The first one was good too. But the way it was portrayed, how he was originally part of World War II, and he fought against the Nazis, and then Hydra, if you know your stuff, that's a separate unit from the Nazis. Just the way they portrayed him, and what I learned was he got injected with super serum. That's why he's got super strength and durability and basically enhanced human, performance. Obviously he's a super soldier. And before that, he was just a scrawny kid, just a scrawny guy. But he, in his heart, he wanted to serve his country and do the right thing and be a hero. Maybe not a superhero, but a hero at this time. But then he gets the opportunity to be technically a superhero because he becomes Captain America. Again, that's that's why I like about heroes. They stand up for what is right. And Captain America is like the prime example. It just helps that he's Captain America, excuse me. But yeah, I mean, just obviously how he's portrayed, his story. I mean, you can't say nothing bad about Captain America. If you got a problem with Captain America, then I'm sorry. I'm not going to say anything to you because he stands up for what is right, and he's got a big heart. I like that about him. Yeah, and I mean, what else can I say? But moving on. Number 4, Iron Man. Now, that might be an interesting choice to put over Captain America. I don't know. I mean, I just got a weird thinking process. But when I was introduced into Iron Man, I never knew much about him either. But I was very, very interested because, obviously the eye test, you kind of like, with relationships or women or men, you're like, oh my God, he's attractive, she's attractive. And then you get to know more about her or him, and you're just like, whoa. When I learned about Iron Man, obviously the suit and what he could do with the suit, everybody would like to do that. And then obviously when I found out more and more about Iron Man, when the movie came out, that's how I got introduced. It was a great movie. I mean, you can't deny that movie was not one of the greatest Marvel movies. His background story is he's a genius playboy philanthropist, whatever you call it, help me out. And, he's just a he's an out of the box character compared to all these characters I had left off with and all that jazz. Yeah, and Tony Stark, he gets kidnapped by these terrorists, and he has shrapnel in his heart, but he's forced to help him make weapons, and he doesn't stand for that because he knows his weapons are not being used for the right thing. They're used for terrorism, not for protecting the world. Like used by the U.S. government and right governments instead of terrorist groups. So what he does, obviously, he makes his first Iron Man suit, and he obviously goes from there. He saves himself. He gets out of the line of fire, the crap that he was in, and then he goes on to dedicate himself to right his wrong. He becomes the weapons all in this suit just to protect people from all his doing that he felt like it's all his fault. And that's obviously very, capturing to me because, it's one thing if you did mess up, but then again, he's got really good motivation there. He might be this very different, sociable, if you know your Tony Stark, Iron Man personality well, yeah, he's a ladies' man, he's, very snarky, just the way his personality is, and then obviously he takes himself very serious as a superhero because he wants to fix his his wrongs. But obviously that's what gravitated me about Iron Man, because above all his very abrasive personality, he stands up for what's right, and he does care about people. So yeah, moving on to number 3, Rocket Raccoon. Now, people are like, probably people on here looking at this is like, why not Groot? But Groot's awesome. I mean, like I told you guys, I love almost all the Marvel characters with open arms. Rocket just appealed to me because, I mean, I guess you could say the eye test. Like, oh, what's this? I found out about him on Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. There shows my Marvel allegiance. And then I was like, what is this guy about? And I heard Guardians of the Galaxy, and I was just like, never seen that before. Then I used him. I was like, wow, he's actually a cool character. His when he charges his bar up, he has like a big gun, and obviously you guys know that now. And he was actually a test subject. He's technically not a raccoon, surprisingly, and that's the cool thing about it. They do that little twist, because he's like this experiment made up of different things, and they put him together, and apparently Rocket Raccoon is born. Super intelligent. He could talk. He may look like a raccoon. On and on and on. And he obviously has some psychological, mental issues, because he's very hurt because he has had a bad past, because when it comes to test subjects and kind of like, obviously you don't have freedom, and he obviously had a very bad background story, and, if you guys seen the movie, you guys will know what I'm talking about. Rocket, obviously, I love him because of that. Yeah, I mean, I can relate to that. I've been raised really good, but, just little nuances to attach myself onto. I like storylines. What can I say? But obviously, just his snarky, smart ass routine. Like, obviously, who didn't? I loved his performance in Guardians. I mean, they couldn't have made a better Rocket. His jokes, his smart ass routines. I mean, there's nothing. I don't see anything bad about this character. I just love him for his personality and that out of the box character. Okay. Number 2. This might be a surprise. Deadpool. Now, obviously, you guys know I got this cup like I sometimes show in my videos because I love Deadpool. And the main reason why I love Deadpool is, just his crazy personality. I guess you could say the reason why I like crazy personality is because I have a crazy one too. I am probably 10 times worse off camera. But No, Deadpool is obviously an interesting character besides his personality. He was actually a mercenary before the Weapon X program. He got diagnosed with cancer, and Weapon X offered him the healing factor from Wolverine, or related to Wolverine. I don't want to quote that to get fanboys pissed off, but I know that for a fact. I want to say it was from Wolverine. Anyway, Weapon X offered him to cure his cancer, and then he did, but then he left his whole body disfigured, and that's why he dons that costume. And obviously that left him with psychological problems and the Deadpool we all know. And that's very disheartening. I can't believe that would happen to a character like Deadpool. And I was just like, man. And then it just helps the fact that I have an obsession with ninjas. I love Ninja Turtles. Daredevil's classified ninja-esque. I want to say, Iron Fist should have been on this list, but I wanted to make a top 10 of my personal favorites. But, he's a very in-depth character, surprisingly, in my opinion, I love his personality, how he goes about things. He's an anti-hero, but that's very different. And I guess the other reason why I love Deadpool, and this is arguably my number one favorite, besides his personality, it kind of relates to the other one, but how he's very different from the other Marvel characters. Because when you look at superheroes overall, maybe DC and Marvel combined, they're very, very, very serious. Now, when you look at Deadpool, he's not that serious, and it's kind of like, you gotta be serious, obviously, when you're a superhero, even though technically he's not a superhero, but you know what I mean. It's like a switch up, it's like an out of the box, like, oh, let's make a zany character, let's make a less stressed character, and obviously, I just love his humor, I just love his personality, his weapons, he's just, you can't beat that guy, and the guys who've been watching my videos lately, you're probably like, I'm surprised that's not your number one. Well, I said the best for last, didn't I? But, obviously, I just love this guy. This guy's awesome, and wish I can go on and on more, but I gotta finish my thing, And at number one, Wolverine. Probably a lot of you guys expected that, but this is the guy that got me started with Marvel and ultimately in superheroes. It's tied with Jason David Frank from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but Wolverine, when it's technically a superhero comics wise, yes, he's the best, my opinion. Obviously I grew up with the 90s series of X-Men, and I'll go back to that. When I first saw the intro, I was like, what's going on? It wowed me. And then I saw Wolverine, the intro, every character, if you know your intros, and that show a lot, how, the face, and I was just like, idolized, I was just like, I was like, wow, what is that face? That face just amazed me. And then obviously the little, his claws and everything, he caught my attention, like, big time. And then obviously I saw the show where he just went, I'm like, he's walking around, I'm like, whoa, for a little kid, you're just like, whoa, what's going on with this character, He just caught my eye big time. And when I learned more and more about him, how he was part of the Weapon X program, he has always had a healing factor. He originally had bone claws, and he got part of the Weapon X program to make him metal claws and a metal body. Now, like I said, he always had regenerative powers. So he's indestructible, basically. All you gotta do is, the only way to kill him, or to defeat Wolverine, or basically kill him, is to decapitate him. And, and that's it. But otherwise, take a rocket launcher to his chest, and he's gonna come back. And it didn't help when he got his metal body and his metal claws. Excuse me. How, he was just a beast. They call him Weapon X, and that's just awesome. I mean, he's got a berserker rage too, and oh my god, that's probably my favorite part about Wolverine. He's got an awesome background. There's a lot of good things about Wolverine. But when I was a little kid, I threw little tantrums, and I just felt helpless, I guess what I'm trying to say is when Wolverine did his, I'm just like, wow, I wish I could do that. just to unleash it in a healthy way, because he did. He worked for the X-Men. He did it in a healthy way. I wish when I was a little kid, I wish I could unleash my tantrums in a healthy way. And I wish I would have dedicated myself to football more when I was back in high school. And then I can have that Wolverine mentality, just go berserker rage, be a defensive lineman. That would have been awesome. But I mean, I kind of related to him, I guess, a little bit. It's a weird way to relate, but he's just an interesting character. I loved everything about him. I may say a lot about Deadpool, and people are like, "Wow, you like Wolverine more?" No, Deadpool was awesome, but Wolverine, he will always be my man. That guy. I mean, what else can you say about him? And then Hugh Jackman, when obviously I first saw the first X-Men, I was elated, because when I first saw Wolverine, I knew that was Wolverine because of the face alone. He did I'm not the best at mimicking, but he obviously does a great job at Wolverine. He just does it. Hugh Jackman, I mean, wow. I don't care what people say about the Wolverine films. Yes, some of them are bad, some of them are not the best, but hey, I consider them good movies. Especially 1 and 2, yada yada yada. Because I love me some Hugh Jackman because he does a great Wolverine. Yeah. Because, like I said, it kind of relates to my... Sorry. It kind of relates to my DBZ fanboyism. How they can go Super Saiyan and go, just unleash it. It's just a release. That's why I guess I'm attracted to when people let go. Like when you go Super Saiyan, you go, It's just a release. Just all that tension goes away. Kind of like his Berserker rage. I see it as a release. And I wish I could do it in a healthy way, because I'm a teddy bear. I mean, I don't want to unleash hell on people, But I wish I could just do it in a healthy way, But yeah, I mean, that's my top 10, and Wolverine tops it. There's no discussion for that. So, alright guys, hope you enjoyed it. Peace out.